Hey everybody. The majority of today's shoot is casual lighting, like just the easiest lighting. I tried to use just one light, but then, a little bit into the shoot I added, two of the LEDs, then I went back to the one light again. And I used the Aperture Light Dome 2 softbox open and then with a grid. Just playing. And the X-Pro 3 with the 50mm, I keep coming back to this lens. It's inexpensive, it's sharp, it's fun. And I shot the whole thing on ISO 640. I just wanted that dynamic range to be at its peak. And I really wanted to take a look at the images to see how they looked on the ISO 640 in studio. Is it too much grain? Is it not? It didn't matter because this was a fun shoot. It was not a paid shoot. I literally just brought in an old friend that I've been shooting for years and years to take a look at it and to take a look at the ISO and the quality. Anyway, which brings me to another subject. Like, I love these small cameras, but I also love the big camera. I remember back in the day when I was shooting professional hockey and headshots, and I had the Nikon D3S camera, and I remember saying out loud many times, this is the last camera I'll ever buy, because I loved it that much. I mean, it was 2 pounds of metal and the lenses were heavy, but it didn't matter because it was really well balanced. It felt great in the hands. Not that this doesn't, don't get me wrong. I mean, I love this camera with the grip. Without the grip, I couldn't use it. And I love the lightweight factor. But I do have to use heavier equipment, with larger megapixel, because some of the commercial accounts just they won't accept these files, period. They just won't do it. Clothing and so forth, they need the file size they need, and you have to deal with it, which is fair. If they're printing anything from magazine to billboard to any kind of print media, they want a bigger file size. And the other thing is, I hate phase detect for that kind of work. Phase detect for me, remember those old dotted photos that inside the dots there was another image or a letter or something, and you had to see what it was? But it was really hard to see until someone pointed it out or you actually got it. Then you could not see it. That's what phase detect is for me. Those, the banding and the noise that phase detect creates, I hate. Now, when I'm shooting high ISOs, like 640 on this, it just doesn't faze me because the noise, the digital noise, kind of like hides it, if you will. But that's why I use the Hasselblad X1D system, and right now I rent it when I need it. I love the form factor of it because it's easy to hold. The weight doesn't bother you because it's balanced so well and it's so well designed. But I'm getting back into my own system where I'm narrowing it down. And I've tried Nikon, and I've shot Nikon for years and years and years. And the Z7 II, it's a great camera, but I really don't need that, oh shit, there's banding when I'm sending images to a client. Whatever the scenario, if it's going to be there or if there's a chance that it's going to be there, I don't need it. So contrast detect focus systems are top for me. Because I'm not shooting action or fast moving anything, even with the fashion, if the model's walking with the clothing and it's flowing, it's contrast detect works great. So I'm really looking into the Panasonic system. But it was funny because I was looking at the lenses, and this goes for everybody, whether you're an amateur, advanced amateur, or a pro. The whole lens reviews. Now, I have a select few people on YouTube that I trust, that I go to, and if they, looked at the lens, I'd like to hear their opinion on it. because it's usually no BS and it's all real world stuff. It's not like brick walls. And it was funny because the one lenses some of the lenses I'm looking at, Sigma as a matter of fact, I'll just do a quick hashtag search on Instagram to see what the real world photos are coming out like. And I'm not sure if you guys do this, but let me know if you do. But you look through the images and you'll see this beautiful image taken with this lens that you're looking at, and you go, wow, that lens is a killer lens. And everybody does this. But then you see just everyday images that anybody could have taken, and you go, well, maybe that lens isn't quite the right one. And I know it's stupid, but I think everybody does it mentally. You're just like, oh God, that lens isn't that great. But anyway, so that's where I'm at. I'm putting together the system, more of a run and gun type system with a high megapixel camera and just the right lenses. I don't care about the 1.2 or 1.4 or anything like that. I care about a solid lens that gives me a solid image that renders to a high megapixel, because that's what the companies need. You and I, or the everyday Joe that looks at prints, you can't look at a print side by side for one lens to another and go, this was shot with this was shot with this. And I believe a lot of people think they can, and you can't. Unless it's a massive, poorly designed, shitty lens. Sorry. You can't tell the difference. But when they go to print, and you send them to a agency or a magazine or whoever you send your images to for commercial work, they'll know. Because they have professional retouchers that pull these up and go, we need a different file size. We need a different file type. So anyway, this shoot that I did, to check this 640, getting back on topic, was just a fun shoot, and I was really happy with it. Like when you look at the images, they're not perfect at all. But it doesn't matter. Even if I printed them like to 16 by 20, they're still going to be beautiful images. And for social media, they're going to be beautiful on social media. But remember that the lifespan of these type of images is 3 seconds. Swipe and it's gone. They saw it for 3 seconds, they're done. What if they double tap and like it? Who cares? Just so you like it. And take it from an old timer that's been doing this for a living. That's what really matters. If you get a good feeling out of this, and you get a good feeling out of your shoot, I know a lot of people do this just because it's fun, because it's a release, because it's a hobby, and that's a great thing. But this 50mm lens versus the f1, I just don't care. For these type of shoots, it just doesn't matter. My commercial shoots, they matter. I have to have this system with this lens, to give them the best product that I can to make sure I get hired again the next time. But for this kind of stuff, for fun stuff, for your fishing trip type photo shoot, pick something that's inexpensive and fun and enjoy it. Anyway, I'm rambling and I apologize. If you have any questions, put them down below. When I decide on the new system and the new lenses, I'll let you know. I'm looking forward to getting something in, rather than renting again. I rent systems on a weekly basis because, and I've been doing this, you have to remember this, I've been doing this since 1982. And it's the same thing, like this studio. Do I need this studio? Absolutely not. I do this because I'm old and don't want to have to rent studios anymore. And I don't mind paying the price, so I have that convenience. But having a studio today is crazy. Like, you don't need a studio. You don't need the expensive equipment until you do. And then when you do, you rent. You rent the studio, you rent the equipment, you get your job done, and you send it back. And the next time you need it, you do the same thing. It's just the right way to do things. And the way equipment advances and goes forward and forward so quickly, why put all that money into the commercial part of it if you're not doing that much commercial yet? And me, I do commercial work every week, and I still rent because it's believe it or not, it's cheaper in the long run, and it's a tax deduction in the end too. So anyway, enjoy the shoot. If you have any questions about the shoot, let me know. But I do like the higher ISO on this, and I like the look. You know, it's that artsy kind of look that it's not clean, but I don't care because that's what I was looking for. That's what I wanted. Anyway, enjoy, and I'll talk to you soon. So we started off the shoot with an open window shade, so I have natural light coming in, and I'm using the GVM 200D with the full-size aperture light dome 2. That is a big light dome. It's really beautiful light. I only have one diffuser on it because I wanted to get the most light out of this. And I kept her somewhat closer to the background so it falls back on the background because I wanted that light to make up for that blue tint that I normally get. You can see it on the edges there. I don't mind it though. It's like a natural vignette with color. But I used the light in just different areas. I moved it around to the side light to pull out the jawline, and that really worked nicely. It defines the face more when you put the light down and to the side. At that 45 degree, I can really pull out a really nice jawbone look with this. And you can see the shadows underneath the jawline. It's not too much, but it's just enough to define that. Adding the grid controls the light even more. And I did try a few side, but it was just a little too defined, so I put it in front because I wanted more of a beauty shot. And I don't mind it falling on the backdrop, and it tightened the fall off quite a bit with this and gave it just a little bit more of a dramatic look while the room was still light. But you just play with this, just play with different scenarios with your light. And this is all one light, and it's fantastic. Now I tried the overhead, and the key with overhead is always to have your model, with the head tilted up or looking up. Brooke didn't do that very much, so her eyes get lost a little bit in the photos. As you can see here, they just look a little dead. She was behind just a little bit of light, so I did have some fall onto her eyes, but not enough. And that's a problem when you're using overhead light like this. The jawline and if you're shooting a 3/4 and they have a stomach like that, it'll pull out the defining lines of the face and the body, which is fantastic for photos. But if they're not looking up, and this one again, the eyes are just dead. So yeah, of course I had to go overboard and throw in the side lights and try red. I'm still not good with the LEDs, with the color. It's going to take a little bit more practice with this because I'm so used to strobes. So, I mean, it's a nice photo, but it's nothing. It doesn't have any pop. It's just dead to me. When I switched over to white, this is a little bit more controllable for me because I can control white. I can make white look good. I just can't do the colors yet, which I think will come with practice. But, give me strobes and I can do anything with them, and LEDs, which is strange as it may sound. I can't control the color on photos like that. So I did warm up the lights just a tiny bit for this shot. But then in post-process, I cooled it down. So, you have the warm falling on the backdrop a little bit on her hair, but then, I cooled it down on her face and her skin tones. And this last outfit, this was a bare bulb with a reflector because I wanted a really harsh light. Her skin is good, so I knew it wouldn't take much post-processing because a hard light on skin that has blemishes is horrible to retouch. But her skin is really good. I threw the whiteboard underneath just to kick up some light and fill in the shadows from the hard light. But that was our shoot for the day. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, leave them below. Thanks for watching.